Hi everyone. Well, after what has been such a miserable, moody couple of weeks, it does look like things will be changing in the coming days, especially towards the end of the week as high pressure starts to change its position and bring in some much drier air. In fact, it will be turning significantly colder towards the end of the week. Of course, there will be less in the way of cloud and more in the way of sunshine, but still some cloudier periods as well, and an increase in risk of frost. So our first chilly spell of the season really coming up. So let's start off here with the synoptic chart showing the areas of high and low pressure, and we can see the culprit for this this cloudy weather, and it's actually been this area of high pressure out here just to our east, out towards Eastern Europe now. But then another area of high pressure has moved up from the south, which is also influencing our weather right now. But you can see by this is the time this evening, should I say, and you can see that the temperatures across southern England and the island aren't really that cold. So in fact, we'll overlay the wind arrows as well. You can see the wind directions are a bit scattered at the moment, a bit random, but you can see the temperatures are 12 to 14 degrees. So that is really quite mild still. And as we move through tomorrow, you can see that the temperatures fall away a little bit, but we've still got this northerly flow, but it's not a deep northerly flow from the Arctic. It's actually coming up from the Azores, wrapping around this area of high pressure and flowing back southwards again. So it's, even though it's moderated by the sea, the warmth, it is still relatively mild by the time the air reaches us. And of course, it's still with a reasonable amount of cloud. And then as we move through Tuesday, the area of high pressure starts to change. In fact, the orientation of the high pressure starts to change. So it was quite a round looking fella, but it ends up starting to become a bit more elongated and drifting out towards the west here. So that starts to allow colder air in from the north and east. And then as we move through Friday, Saturday and into Sunday, we start to see this flow from the north or even northwest once it reaches us, but it's coming actually from the Arctic, so temperatures will start to fall away quite significantly. And we can see these blue colours. This is on Sunday night. I mean, it will change probably quite a lot by then, but it is showing that there will be some much colder nights with the risk of frost. Now we'll have a quick look at something a little bit different and a bit of a learning curve, I'm afraid. So each computer model we use, this one is the GFS, the Global Forecasting System, it's run every 6 hours, so it's updated every 6 hours. Now, also once every 6 hours, it is run multiple times with very slightly different starting parameters. I mean, there's a little bit more to it than that, but what this means is that it helps it pick out changes further down the line. So, for example, if it was started off with the temperature a certain 3.6 degrees, over southern England here, and then it's run again with a slightly different starting temperature, with a few other different parameters as well, and then you see how the model runs out. Now, if it matches, so this is the time and date down here, so if multiple days in advance, the outcome is still the same, even with these slightly different starting parameters, you can be reasonably confident that the upcoming pattern is likely to happen. Whereas when you see a lot of divergence after these changes in start data, this is when we get a lot more confusion in the models and we're not so sure how things will evolve. Now, this is the temperature a few thousand feet up in the atmosphere. So at the top here, you can see all the different model attempts of being run here, or should I say all the different ensemble members, from 0 to 30. And you can see down the side here, the time and date, like I said. So if we look to around the 15th, they are all suggesting roughly the same kind of look, with temperatures in the atmosphere a few thousand feet up between 3 and 6 degrees, which means it's quite a mild airflow still. But then if we come down here a little bit towards really the 17th and 18th, we start to see these much colder temperatures. Now, pretty much all of these ensemble members are showing a cool down in the air. One or two of them, like this one here, is not showing very much in that kind of thing. Really, it's showing much milder conditions. Whereas some like this one here is showing some really cold conditions. But what we can have confidence on is that the majority of these members are showing a significant cool down in approximately 1 week's time. So we can be confident that it will cool down. Now after that is when it gets a bit confusing. So around the 21st, possibly the 22nd, is when they start to diverge once again. Some of them become lots milder, like this one here. Other ones stay cold, like a few of these ones here. So this is when we can be relatively uncertain, but we can be quite confident that between the 17th and really, say, possibly the 22nd, it's going to turn quite a lot colder, significantly colder, with that risk of frost that we were talking about. I hope that didn't confuse you too much. It's quite difficult to explain in the most basic terms, really, but there you go. Hopefully that did make sense. So now let's have a quick run through of the cloud cover through the week ahead, and we'll overlay the wind direction arrows again, so you can just see what's happening as we run through this. So this is at the moment a reasonable amount of cloud around, but the sun breaks. The cloud does thicken up later for a time, but it does clear again for tomorrow afternoon. Then on Tuesday it seems not too bad, cloud and a few brighter spells. Much the same on Wednesday, with some reasonable sunshine it does look like, but also a few areas of cloud drifting through. Then as we move through into Thursday, much the same, with broken cloud, occasional sunny spells. And then into Friday we still see much the same, with these with broken cloud and occasional sunny spells. So now let's have a quick look at the rainfall map through the week. And you can see as we run through, a little bit of rain overnight tonight possibly. But then really it doesn't look too bad. There's a hint of a few showers developing towards the south coast, running through the channel from the east-northeast on Tuesday, but they should really stay offshore, and perhaps maybe the far southern and eastern coast just about reaching them. And then as we move through into Wednesday, the showers stay there, but it doesn't look too bad over us. So broken cloud, occasional sunny spells, and really very little in the way of rain throughout the whole week. Now let's have a quick run through of the temperatures through the week. Now it doesn't look too bad tonight, staying fairly mild. But then as we move through into tomorrow, we're looking at temperatures 10 to 12 degrees. And then as we move through tomorrow night, getting a bit chilly. Maybe the odd frost up north, but nothing really affecting us. And Tuesday and Wednesday, it's a little bit colder, with the temperatures really a touch down. So we're seeing 9 to 11 degrees. But it's not certainly not cold by any means. And then as we move through into Thursday, we start to see temperatures drop away a little bit more. So we're looking at 9 to 10 degrees, maybe 11 on the coast, but still not too bad. And it's not really until Friday and even into Saturday that we start to see the temperatures really dropping away. Although it is likely, like I said before, that Friday night we start to see the temperatures possibly cold enough for frost. Then Saturday and Sunday night as well, the frost risk does increase. But this is the slightly higher resolution model, and it doesn't quite go out as far as next weekend, so we can't really show you that. And also it's likely to change somewhat before then as well. Now let's have a quick run through of the winds for this week. And they don't look too strong really. Tonight they're actually going to be very light indeed. We've overlaid the wind arrows once again. You can see the winds are going to be light tonight, picking up a little bit tomorrow from the at least the average speed. So from the north overland, we're looking 12 miles per hour perhaps, but not really anything to note. Perhaps a little bit breezier on Tuesday. So overland, we're going to be seeing wind strengths of 18, maybe up to 20 miles per hour as an average speed, but gusts look significantly stronger. So we're going to be seeing gusts possibly 35-40 mile an hour in more coastal parts. In fact, we'll keep these wind gusts on at the moment, and you can see how they stay with us through into Wednesday as well. So it does look quite gusty down on the coast, but just inland really it doesn't look too bad, with wind speeds significantly lighter. Then as we move through Wednesday and into Thursday, those gusts actually weaken somewhat, and we start to see average speeds dropping right down again, with just a bit of a breeze here on in more coastal areas. Then as we move through into Friday, it's a bit difficult to know exactly what the wind direction is going to be by then, because there is some divergence between the models. So somewhere between the north and the east seems most likely, but it doesn't look like it will be very strong at this point either. And now we'll just finish off with a quick look at two different things here. So this is the computer models, two of the main ones that we use. One is the German model, which is, we feel, possibly the more accurate of the two, which on Sunday is bringing down this cold north to northwesterly wind with low pressure out here to the east and another area of low pressure diving down to our west, with high pressure over Greenland and extending out into the Atlantic. Now let's compare that with the American model, and you can see the winds are somewhat different. They're coming in from the west-northwest or northwest up here, and then turning round this little V shape, which is a little ridge of high pressure here, and it doesn't look quite as cold really on this model. But the difference is that we don't have that other little area of low pressure really running down here. This is it. What is left of it on this model, so it's slightly different, and this area of high pressure has a bit more influence. So later on in this model, this high pressure retrogresses as it's called, back up this way towards Greenland and allows for a second cold wave of really cold air, whereas the German model actually doesn't allow for that and actually breaks down the cold air much quicker. So it's quite confusing to what will happen beyond next weekend. Only that we can say really for now that it will be turning colder towards the weekend, next weekend, with the likelihood of frosts. So without any more rambling, I will leave you with what we showed you before. It's turning colder through the week, less in the way of cloud, and increasing risk of frost towards next weekend. Of course, as always, we will update you through the week, and as and when things change, of course, we will let you know. That's all for now. Goodbye.